Hello! Today I've got another DIY tutorial for you. It's of this earring over here. I'll just zoom you in a moment so you can actually see it from up close. Anyway, it's made of metal wire. I got some metal wire, like colored metal wire, from a friend who had it lying around, and she knew I was trying to do more DIY things, so she gave it to me, which is very sweet. So I wanted to do something fun with it, and it turned into an earring. I'll just zoom you in so you can probably see it. So here's what it looked like. It's just a moon, like in dark purple over here, and a star and some beads, all in shades of purple, because yeah, that's my favorite color. Also, I love space themes, so it seemed like a good idea to do this. Also, it's actually sort of more difficult than I expected it to be, to actually bend the wire in a way that it turns out looking like I want it to look. Like, I always underestimate DIY things for some reason, and I never learn. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, but anyway, I did it, so that must mean that most people can do it, so yeah, just let's feel that as a good thing. So yeah, let's get started. So what I used are these metal wires, and yeah, they're available in a lot of different colors. And also these beads, and of course, I don't know what they're called, those earring hanging things, yeah. And also some little tools that I once bought at a drugstore, surprisingly. They were really cheap and very useful for this, so yeah. For the little moon I just cut off a small part of the wire. And then for the star, because I wanted it to be bigger, I cut off more, obviously. And then the fun begins. So basically what I did, I wanted a 5-pointed star, so I just made 5 points first. Like, I was looking at the wire, like, how am I gonna do this? And this just seemed like the easiest way to go. And yeah, once it's entirely bended, it looks like this. Sort of weird. And then I just bended it around into sort of a hoop, with all the points sticking out, assuming it would automatically then look like a star. That actually took more effort than I thought it would, but yeah, it does look sort of vaguely star-shaped already. And yeah, then the whole thing is to make it one thing, like have no end sticking out anymore. So what I did was basically just fold it around until it looked good, like there was no theory behind it. I just fumbled with it until it worked. That's pretty much what I always do in DIYs. I just try and try until it ends up looking like I want it to look. And then the top part I did make into a little hoop, because of course I want to attach more things to it. And I did need something to attach those things to. And the same with that, I just fumbled around and bended the wire around itself until it looked good enough. And eventually it ended up looking like this. And on at this point I just basically bended the star a little bit more until it looked star-ish enough to me. And then it's time for the little moon, which is a lot easier. I pretty much just made sure that I had like a piece of wire left over, as you can see here, just because of course I do need to make a hoop again to attach it to something else. And first I just made sure that the wire was also around itself again. Again, it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as it's stuck on there. I used 2 types of pliers. If you don't have anything like this, you could also try this using your nails, but if you like your nails, then I wouldn't recommend it. I broke many a nail in the past before I got these things, so yeah. Anyway, once it's stuck on there, I'm just folding it into a moon shape, which also actually was slightly more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Like, it wasn't difficult, but it was less easy than I thought it would be. Mostly because it kept looking like a banana, as you can see here. Like, it's pretty difficult to get the bottom point to be actually pointy. So I gave up on folding it with my fingers and just used the pliers again, which worked significantly better. And then finally it actually looks like a crescent moon. And then it's time to get the hoop on it. At first I wanted to do it slightly differently, but I ended up using the entire part that I had left up there to make the hoop. And yeah, of course I do want to attach it to the star. So what I did was just cut another piece of metal wire, as you can see here. And just folded that so I could hang the moon on it. And then of course folded it shut so the moon would actually stay on there and not fall off. And do be careful not to be too rough with this type of wire, because it might actually break if you're too rough with it. I also found out the hard way about that. And then I just attached it to the star, and I pretty much wanted it to hang in the center of the star. So I just kept it there like this, and then just again folded the metal until it was stuck on there, cut off any excess, and just made sure that there were no like pointy sharp bits sticking out of it, because that's pretty important, seeing as it's going to end up in my ear, or at least in my earlobe. And then it's time for the final part. Again, I'm using a piece of metal wire, and I'm just folding it, like folding the end of it very slightly, like it shouldn't be big. It's pretty much you should just keep the bottom bead in place. But you don't want it to stand out, at least I didn't want it to stand out. So I'm just making a little hoop and then just twisting it around so it will lay flat against the bottom part of the bead. And the beads I used are 3 different ones. I used this pale blue one, sort of see-through, because, I don't know, the color just seemed very suitable for a galaxy space theme. And then I used a dark metallic blue one, because it looks the same roughly as the moon. Or at least the moon in this earring, not the actual moon. And then lastly I used a purple one, because it also fitted with it. And then I just pretty much did the same thing as I did with the little moon, only I bended this first before putting it through the other thing. I just made sure it was long enough, and then I just folded it, and actually ended up making a separate hoop from this on top of the other hoops, which is easier to see than to explain. And yeah, then the most difficult part is actually done. Then it's just time to make the actual earring piece look as I want it to look. Like the original decoration beads on it just didn't look right to me for this look. So I just replaced it with a purple bead. I did have to like abuse the thing a little bit to get it on there, and then just push it back into shape. But it actually worked out pretty well. I could easily bend it back into shape, so that's good. And then it looks like this. And then I just attached it to the rest of the earring, of course. This is pretty much the easiest part of this entire DIY tutorial. And then I just squeezed it shut, so again it wouldn't fall apart. And then finally the earring is done. I actually only made one because I always feel like with a statement earring, like a really big earring, I don't know, I just like it more to wear just one. But you could make two if there's more of your style. Blah. And yeah, that was it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye! I actually, like, the only thing I always wear when shopping are those, you know, those Puma sport shoes I just mentioned, actually. Yeah, because like